Coming to you from Dynatrace Perform in Las Vegas, it's Pure Performance.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Pure Performance and Perf Bites, coming to you from Perform2020 in Las Vegas. Mark Tomlinson, Mr. Perf Bites, how are you doing?
I am great, Brian. I'm very excited to be Perform2020. This is, I think, our fifth year. We started in 2015, I think.
Right, and I think we joined you doing it. The Pure Performance side joined you doing it the year after. So yeah. This will be our third year at the. Where are we at?
Cosmopolitan.
Yes, and then we had that one.
It's not just a drink.
Right, and then we had that one off year at the Bellagio. But that was more, I think, just our setup where we were, and a lot of things going on there. But we're back.
I don't believe that there is a Bellagio drink. There is a Cosmo drink, though, right?
Sure.
Yeah, just saying.
Sure. Oh, I hear someone chuckling in the background. Does that mean we have a guest with us, Mark?
That's right, we do. It's another person named Mark. So
How are you?
Hey, Mark Kaplan. Why don't you introduce yourself, Mark?
Mark Kaplan from Barbri, a long-time Dynatrace customer number one, I believe.
No.
Yeah, actually I am.
So way back.
I am number one for a build customer.
You don't mean like you're number one, like ranked number one. You mean like the first customer?
No, the very first customer.
They might also be ranked number one.
You know? Yeah, but approaching, you mean like our actually in February at our Perform, I am celebrating our 5th anniversary.
5th anniversary. Oh, you wait. Oh, you mean, so you're getting me confused because Dynatrace to me started back in 2005 with lowercase d.
To me, it started with Dynatrace SaaS, Dynatrace 1. The new product.
Yes, exactly. Okay, right. What was formerly the product formerly known as Ruxit?
Right. Yes, I've been told not to say that names, but I'm glad you did.
Well, just historically, no, and I'm sure Dave Anderson will yell at me if you hear me say that. But I'm just saying that as reference to what it was.
Yes,
because
it was previously known as Ruxit.
Okay, so that makes sense then, because I thought you meant way back, because I was going to say, man, I was a customer in like 2009. I might have run into you. All right, yeah. No, well, that's awesome. I did not know that. So I learned something today, which is awesome. It's already a great day because I learned something. This is not your first Perform then?
No.
Obviously.
No.
You've presented, you've been on stage with the, Mark, I think your hair was purple at the time, or was it pink?
Oh, it's pink, and it's pink right now, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just in honor of our Mark and Mark show.
Mark and I were main stage year before last, I think.
Yeah.
My first one was Orlando.
Yeah.
Oh, you went to that one.
Yeah.
That was like the weird one.
It was.
Yeah.
That's where,
and I think
that's where the new product got announced.
Oh, yes. See, all these things I don't know. I didn't start going to Perform until I think 3 years ago or something like that. 3 or 4 years ago. But yeah, the Orlando one was the one that was like in a different time. And every time, even when we're looking at analytics, we always like, okay, that was at a different time of year. We don't compare anything to that one. It's like the bastard stepchild. But obviously it wasn't because it introduced what's now Dynatrace. Mark, you were Mark Tomlinson. I cut you off though.
That's true. So Mark, I was going to ask you, it's apropos that people make New Year's resolutions and we're in a new decade completely. One of the things that you and I talked about on stage, I think Steve was asking us about kind of the future innovations and where we see things going. We talked a bit about AI, and I'm just curious in terms of where you're at with at Barbri, employing some of the things that we learned 2-3 years ago about Davis and where things have gone with AI.
Yeah, so AI has really had an impact on the product and our experience with it. Its ability to, when you're not reliant on fixed algorithms and you actually have a true AI analyzing all of your data that's coming in, you really get some suggestions and recommendations from the intelligence to act on and to mitigate or prevent problems from manifesting to the customer.
Different than relying on your historic knowledge or something you read on a blog or hear somewhere in training
Well,
somewhere
we
else,
have a
right?
we have a say where I have a saying here where I go by my gut quite a bit, and if I see a trend building on the dashboard, my gut tells me what I need to do. Now, I'm usually right, but the AI confirms that for me now.
Yeah. Mark, I was going to ask, how has it changed your team structure and how you guys operate? Like if you're seeing stuff and shooting from the gut, have you seen other people sort of learn differently and grow differently in the team?
Yeah, what I've seen from my team is we have become more, and I hate this word, but I'm going to use it, ubiquitous. And what I mean by that is the walls between departments are pretty much gone. So network systems, they have become one, and they're not. They work together now. They're not segregated.
And that's the goal for most people,
Sorry?
right? I said that's a huge goal for a
Yes.
lot of people is to get that.
It's
sort
always
of
been
unity.
my goal to have not a vanilla group, but a group of experts that work together as a collective. Maybe I sound like the board, but in this case, this is what I need. I need all of our people to be connected and think not necessarily alike, but in sync, where they're learning from each other.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you have the real life team of what gets described in, say, Gene Kim and Company's Phoenix Project or the Unicorn Project, where it's the experts of all those areas working together and making magic happen. And it sounds like that's what you've achieved to a degree, or to a large degree, I should say, right?
It's critical when you're operating a small team. We're all being asked to do more with less, and that includes human resource. So I have to maximize what I can get out of the resources that I have.
Yeah. How big is your team at Barbri,
5.
Mark?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that includes me.
So if you think about, I think about team and similar, like we have probably, we're a very small startup at Freedom Pay, and it's probably maybe 8 people that expands, including sort of not just production IT, but also kind of the HQ home office.
I'm just referring
back
systems
office support.
people.
Yeah. But still, the thing that I find interesting is we used to be much more siloed just because of the complexity of learning just storage or just network or just, admin operating system kernel. And you had to go so deep that you tuned out. You became a T-shaped person, right? You became deeper and deeper on your discipline, and you had a harder time sort of you had to be a senior person to finally really be like an M or W or I don't know, some weird Cyrillic character person. I don't know. But you know what I mean? Like now with something, I think about the way Dynatrace presents the information as you can see across all of the architecture as you're diagnosing problems, that a team member joining right today saying, hey, I learned how to do systems, learned how to do operations from Dynatrace. It was the primary product. You're always learning in a expansive way, right? Everything is presented to you as a way to say, well, this connects to that, connects to this, connects to that. And I'm thinking that's an interesting impact for smaller teams as well.
Yes, very much so.
Cool.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, Mark, too, because my background was performance testing. I'll even say I will not even say I was a performance engineer, because the idea of being a performance engineer was very, very new when I moved to Dynatrace. But my background was television and film before I got into computers.
Mm-hmm.
But what was interesting is as I started using Dynatrace more, and this is even the old Atmon product, right? That's where I started. And then as you move into Dynatrace, that's where I learned how, I'm not a developer. I'm not going to sit down and write a bunch of code. I can do little bits here and there. I can read and understand things. But by looking at all this stuff that Dynatrace presents and in the way it presents it, I was able to teach myself how all this stuff works, right? So it really is kind of amazing in what you're saying there, because that's how it happened for me.
Yeah.
Looking at the data and saying, oh, look at this. It's all starting to make sense now.
Cool.
Hey, Mark Kaplan, a question I had. You all have done quite a lot with Dynatrace, with your monitoring, with your automation, with everything else going on there. What's on the horizon for you all? Any plans or any cool new things you're working on? Any new goals you're setting for the
We
year?
are working on rebuilding our stack, actually. We are in the middle of a Dynamics deployment, so we're changing how we do our CRM. And Dynatrace is helping us to understand the systems that we'll be retiring, what I'm going to be saving, and how much resources I'll be able to reclaim when we do that. That's the big project going on right now,
Nice.
which I expect to take us through the balance of 2020. And we've also got some security initiatives going on that hopefully will come to fruition before the end of the year.
That's awesome.
Cool. And again, if people don't remember, Barbri is pretty much 100% running in the cloud. So your
Yes.
Dynamics deployment would be in Azure on SaaS, the SaaS deployment. And do you also, from security perspectives, you use cloud-based security solutions then, of course?
Yeah, so we tend to go first party wherever possible. So we're deploying Microsoft ATP, Advanced Threat Protection. We've done that already in O365 and are doing it currently within Azure.
Yeah.
It's helping us also with our GDPR and privacy law requirements because we can now tag all of our assets and grade the information accordingly.
Yeah. Very cool. And is the Barbri stack primarily just a Microsoft stack, or are you using some of the other new stuff they have now in Azure for all these other services and messaging and all these kind of even non-Microsoft stuff?
On the back end, yes, it's primarily Microsoft stack with the exception that our web apps are all Java and JavaScript.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's all Microsoft, and we've integrated now machine learning. It's not a whole lot I can talk about with that, but we're using AI to guide our students on an individual basis and adjust their course based on performance.
Wow.
That's very cool.
It is. It's proprietary though, so I can't.
Yeah.
We won't talk about the thing that we think is very cool.
Yes. I wanted to put you on the spot for a moment with a kind of a stupid question, but you mentioned you're doing the security project and you're running in Azure. So Andy and I recently had Mike Cavus on the show.
Yeah.
And he's very, very much into cloud architecture and all this. And one of the things he mentioned during our episode was that if you're not moving to the cloud because you have security concerns, then you don't understand security or something along the lines of that. Basically what he was saying is you can get absolute security, and he was even saying possibly even more security in the cloud than you can in your own data center. With you all living in the cloud and obviously having some experience probably being in both areas, I was just curious as to your take on that. Do you see any, what kind of concerns do you still have about security, or do you feel like someone like maybe a financial or even government shouldn't have concerns like people tend to have on security in the cloud?
I would tend to agree with the statement that people that have security concerns in the cloud don't understand the cloud. I have yet to run into a situation where I can't architect what I need from a security perspective in the cloud that I could have done on-prem. I have yet anybody to show me anything that I can't do. I can create a private cloud within Microsoft. I can create a private cloud. Well, a data center is a private cloud. That's what you've created. Yeah. There would not be government classified services within the cloud if it wasn't, and I hate using this term as an example, but the government has the biggest vetting of all for security. And to award a contract and give highly sensitive information to areas of Azure, that indicates to me that there is security presence unmatched. What I've seen from Microsoft by visiting their NOC and their headquarters in Seattle is the amazing amount of money that they spend on security. They have DDoS protection that I have yet to see matched by anybody.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's always hurdles people look for to maybe as an excuse or maybe something real concerning, but before moving to a cloud, not that you have to move to a cloud necessarily, right? But a lot of times are there benefits to it? And someone will pipe up and be like, well, there's this reason, which is maybe something like security. So I think it's something people need to explore. And it's interesting to hear a second person saying that, because when Mike said it on that episode, I was like, oh, I never heard of that before. And, in my experience with just companies in general being breached, so we, every other week getting an email, sorry, your data was stolen, or seeing things in the news, you just have this impression that, yeah, it's not safe, but apparently it doesn't sound like that. So pretty cool. Thanks for your insight on that.
Yeah, I think we're hybrid as well. We're part of our stuff runs in the cloud, part of it runs on premise, and I think a lot of people, as they move everything into the cloud, they would perceive, okay, all the physical security properties. Someone absconding with a hard drive, and oh my gosh, are we encrypted at rest? Do we have any data at rest on that machine? Is it set up in a way that if they take one drive, they can get a complete copy of the data? And then there's physical access to the cage and the facilities. And do you own the facilities? Is there a third party involved? Well, with the cloud, I mean, you're trusting, to Mark's point, not just electronically for things like DDoS or the advanced threat protection stuff that you see running in the service layers or in what I would say the software layers of the cloud, but you greatly reduce, instead of having hundreds of people that may be passing through, you have a single person managing a data center. And if you've ever visited any cloud vendor or any of those data centers for years, they're harder to get into than your own. I mean, the social engineering, these guys are all very well trained. Like, I don't care who you say you are. So there's some amazing physical security benefits. But then electronically, the way they don't configure a subnet the way you and I would on a managed switch here at home. They have like elaborate mechanisms for actually deploying those things, completely hands off. No humans get involved except for you saying, I want a subnet X. So we all know, I think from my perspective with security, a lot of what you see where there's more human intervention, that's where we see more risk or vulnerability. And one of the major advantages of being in the cloud is a great portion of everything you do doesn't really require human intervention outside of the operator sitting in your home office.
Right. And also, if you think about it financially, the cloud is much more financially invested in security than you would be, because if, let's say, AWS or Azure or any of the players had a major security breach,
they have thousands of customers, not just
that's
you.
It. They're done. You know what I mean? Like, no one's going to go back to them. Everyone's going to leave. So like, that is probably one of their number one priorities. It's not one of the sexy things they do, but and it's also interesting too, because we just, as you know, Marks, we have both the SaaS and the managed offering, and I think the managed offering is more for the people who have a lot more of those security concerns. But oftentimes, even when they meet with our security teams and they start talking to them, they're like, "Oh, actually, I think we can run it in SaaS." So yeah. Anyway, Mr. Kaplan, are you going to be staying after Perform for any fun leisure activities?
I am not. I plan on departing the day after the evening event at the end.
You're not going to go. I think I saw in the hotel, not in the hotel, but in the airport, there was like advertisements for you can go in a helicopter and shoot an AR-15 in the air.
I would love to do that, but I have promised my wife I will return this time since she's not going.
Speaking of risk and security, shooting an AR-15 up in the air while you're in a helicopter. I think it's just down.
Depends where the AR is pointed, right?
Yeah. I really think the things that are keeping you you don't want to point up.
I just think that's amazing that's a tourist thing to do. Like, oh, look, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a first. I have not, outside of maybe a safari, I have not heard of doing something like that.
Yeah. So Mark Kaplan, you just performed this week. You have a talk and a breakout session. How did they go?
They went very well. The breakout session, it was on analytics, which is something that Dynatrace is doing a lot of work on. Very good reception, good Q&A. And the main stage went well too. Dave asked very good questions.
Well, he does, exactly. But anything in particular that, you getting good questions or things that you're thinking you'll take home with you?
The biggest reception I got was on the executive dashboards that I produce. I
Yeah.
make a lot of dashboards, both for myself and for my board and executives, and they're
Very
each
cool.
tailored to provide information that would be relevant to them.
Yeah. So things like cost or scalability,
No,
or
more
are there
on performance. So,
Oh, really?
how's the site doing? How many people are on the site? Where are they hitting the most? What's the
Oh,
click rate? Do we have?
okay.
Do we? Everything to do with how the students relate to the site is identified in that dashboard, along with system performance.
And you probably have some critical like KPIs around business growth or new feature usage of new features and things.
Yes, and that's some of the things that we're trying to build in is showing the where we projected versus where we're at, which is more of a manual process right now until I can design something a little more in depth. But we'd like to show, for example, we recently launched a new product site, and we're tracking the visits to the site, how long people stay, what areas of the site they go to, and so forth.
Cool. So it really ties back into sort of the products team or the business management team at an executive layer. Then.
Yes, but in addition to that, we're also using it within operations and sales. Operations uses session replay quite a bit. So when we have a dashboard for them that shows that there's click rage, let's say, they'll go in, find the users that are having the rage, look at the session replay, and reach out to them.
Yeah, before anyone
Correct.
gets hurt.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, and I think this is interesting because I think a lot of people don't think of your APM tools or platform as something more business oriented. Right now, obviously, if you're capturing your real user data, you have
you hit
some
a
of that
spot
insight,
with me there, because I don't
Yeah.
consider Dynatrace an APM. It's way more than that.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, and that's the point I was getting to, right? But please let explain that then. Explain that
an
thought.
APM to me is just what it says. It's an application monitoring system. Okay. Dynatrace is far beyond. That's just a small piece at this stage of what Dynatrace actually does, because along with monitoring, it takes that monitoring information and gives you actionable information and actionable data.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or data that can be confidently extrapolated to an understanding of the real world,
yes,
of your real customer.
And to the point where you trust it enough to auto remediate.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Very cool.
And the integrations, we've seen a ton of amazing integrations with it. But the other thing too, and Mark, sorry, I'll let you go in a second, but the other thing I was going to say is, a lot of times with APM tools, like that only specifies, stay in their APM lane, even when they're doing RUM, it's mostly performance related with the user. When you add the session replay, when you add the synthetics, and you can see everything that's actually going on with the user, that really starts getting into the business insights. You were mentioning the rage clicks. If you're seeing a drop in conversion and you don't see response time slowing down, you don't see errors going on, you don't even see rage clicks going on necessarily, like, hey, go watch and see what it looks like. And suddenly you see somebody going through 4 or 5 different pages for a login. You're like, oh my gosh, this, of course they're not finishing. It takes too long, So yeah. And Mark, you had some point, Mark Tomlinson, that is.
No, I was just thinking in terms of if I grew up really and became an executive receiving one of Mark Kaplan's executive dashboards, it's also information that you would never expect to come out of a monitoring system. Like I can think back to someone presenting to the corner office, hey, here's our CPU usage, memory usage, and here's the systems, and then we deploy, and it was very technical, and they were trying to say, well, a lot more, there's more people on the site. And I'm like, you couldn't even see like clicks or sessions, or they didn't try to make any of that leap. And now, of course, that's natively you can put in a dashboard, which feature, which objects, what pages, what business what business use case is happening, and describe the session as you walk through it. Look, here's one of the new students on the new site. Here's what their session looked like. and it's like, wow, that's a real person walking through real stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I agree with Mark. It's way beyond what APM was.
And speaking of that, one thing I want to get off my chest, and I'm probably going to be saying it a lot during Perform this year, is my pet peeve nowadays is observability.
Yeah.
Because everyone's treating it like this brand new thing, right? We've been doing observability since 2005, 2006. I mean, the generally accepted term, unless you guys correct me, of observability is tracing, metrics, and logs.
Yep.
Right, all on your systems together to inform you. It's like that's been around forever, and now suddenly now we have this open source project, and we're going to explore this new thing of observability. It's like there's been vendors been providing this for you as experts for years. Stop reinventing the wheels.
If I have to use some new jargon, I'll use new jargon.
Yes, I was just going to say I'll take advantage of that. If somebody thinks it's new, yes, it's the newest thing since sliced bread.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's great. It's great. It's awesome. We love it.
But to me, the pet peeve is, and I have nothing against open trace or open telemetry being helpful in using things, but it's when people give presentations and they're like, oh, this is this new world of observability, and we're going to show you the amazing things that you can do if you all hand code it by hand. And I'm like, this is not new, and we've been doing this. And hey, you turn it on here. Just stop wasting your time doing it yourself. Anyway,
if an APM tool was not making things observable 20 years ago, they wouldn't be in business today.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely.
Anyway, I only mentioned it because the APM platform, and it's been bugging me because I watched a couple of presentations on some of those things, and I'm like, well, where have these people been living? But anyway.
Yeah. But I do think it does get to the heart of people in what I'll say pure digital business. Where you look in the brick and mortar in a commerce space where it's like I've actually met real customers, or if you worked in tech support, you actually maybe had a phone conversation, actually heard someone's voice. Like if I really think about high touch interaction and observability of the customer experience, there's a generation of new people in digital businesses that they've only been through a chat session. Their whole world is, I don't actually hear, see, but touching a customer like you would, in terms of you go to Nordstrom, it's very important for them to hand you the bag at the end of the transaction. It's a cordial part of their culture in terms of conducting business. So observability, I think, may be very important for younger engineers and new digital business where they really have never interacted with, in Mark Kaplan's case, actual students, and what is it like for them to get on the site and have focus groups and actually meet them and things like that. So maybe observability has more importance as a term. So I'm okay to use it if it helps people think, wow, I really want to reach out to actual customers and figure out what their experience is.
Yes.
I agree. Anything you can do to generate interest or pique someone's interest enough to dig into the product or look further into a solution is beneficial.
Yeah.
I mean,
and at the end of the day too, at least people are interested in it. I think it was more to me the, hey, this never existed before aspect. So I'll have to revise what my pet peeve about observability is. It's not specifically
Brian,
the term.
No one's ever done load testing. Until we came along and came up with this traffic multiplier. You don't do traffic multiplication, do you?
Did you just make that term up, or is that one that's floating around?
I just made it up.
There you go.
But it's the new thing. There's a whole new generation.
I'm going to get on stage
tools.
and do a presentation on traffic multiplication.
Traffic multiplication, yeah.
There you go. Anyway, Mark Kaplan, we hope you enjoyed Perform this year and enjoy the rest of the time.
I have enjoyed it tremendously.
Awesome. And
perfect.
Looking forward to 2021 now.
Yeah,
that's right.
And hopefully, let's see what the all the different final announcements of new products are. I'm sure they're going to be all exciting. But
yes,
and we'll get to find out next year how you leverage them. And I'm sure you're not doing the AR with the goggles. I think that's actually getting.
No, I did not do the.
That was kind of fun, but yeah,
AR.
The Minority Report of performance.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you very, very much for taking the time with us today, and we'll see you around the floor. Swing by.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Nice chat with you.